Welcome back to the action. Women's round of 16, heat number 5 for the MEO Pro Portugal. In the lineup, Carissa Moore, the 5-time world champion, the Olympic gold medalist, up against Bronte Macaulay.
Really doubling up, really steep sections, and it's going to be a lot to deal with. Looks like Carissa's looking at one.
Carissa, current number 4 in the world. Driving into that first turn, nice and powerful, throws a lot of spray, goes in for the second. And times that finisher just a little bit off.
I like the way she looked on that opener, though. A lot of fire coming out of her. I was noticing, too, this morning with Stephanie Gilmore. It just looks like they're turned up a notch from what we had seen prior, and I like it. Carissa, a lot of whip in the lip right there, which is something you want to see. Going to the backhand, the left's looking really fun today. Closing those out is going to be important, though. Coming down with that finishing move, it's the hardest thing to do today because of how low the tide is. Look at how much spray she's throwing. She's pushing really hard on the backhand. That first turn where everything really comes from the score on this one. And trying to come down with the lip line right there is not easy. It's literally, I don't know, shin deep right there where they came down. You know, that feeling, that winter feeling up there. It's the same as we have here. Once you get out in the water, though, it feels great. The sweatsuits and everything are so good these days.
Big takeoff from Bronte. She ducks under the cover. And we'll see her pop up. Hopefully get a quick paddle back out.
And, it's things that the judges will be looking for, but then you can go to the lip line probably a little easier, maybe above the lip. So that'll be fun to watch.
Carissa Moore freed up under priority, goes in for that first turn, connects through for a second. Just punches through that lip line on the finish. And she'll back up that 4.67.
Yeah, Carissa, just veteran moves, making sure that she's got a couple of waves that she can, feel comfortable with. Once she's all about headspace, I feel like, and once she comes into a comfortable, confident play, she's near unbeatable, which we've seen, with her in the finals. This wave, a quick snap up into the bowl, and then a finish on the inside. Nothing crazy, but definitely going to put her in the mid-range where she's going to be comfortable and feel like, okay, I got momentum. I can feel like I've got something under my feet, and I can, confidently start to build off of that. Quick paddle in, just looking down the line, identifies the first section, puts it up there.
Bronte Macaulay answering back on her forehand, finding that left, really just throwing that tail around the whip on that first turn, and goes for the foam climb to finish. Still having a look down the line, wanting to get everything she can out of it. She's got a couple of zeros on the scoreboard at the moment.
Out of Bronte right here, I liked it. But up into the bowl, pushes hard, redirects the board completely back into the wave. So that's something that, to get your board whipped around like that in a lip line, especially on a day like today, because the waves are running away from you so fast. So it's a lot of risk to turn that board all the way back where the nose is going the other direction. And then she gets it back around to try and get back on the open face. But you can see it was even a struggle for her to get to that lip line after redirecting the board.
So it drops through as a 3.73. Carissa Moore having a look. That wave, just you can see the texture from that onshore starting to show up in the face of that wave. Yeah,
it's going to make things, the textures can be tough. We saw it with even the offshore winds yesterday on the side offshore. So, the surfers are used to that.
That they just get thrown into the trash all the time as we take a look at this from Bronte Macaulay during that hit.
Yeah, nice attack into the lip line. So that's something we want to see. We talked about a little bit before the heat got started, and having Bronte kind of give us something to surprise the judges with and have that kind of, spontaneity, and we're seeing it out of her.
And Bronte went on to her third semifinal appearance of her career. As we see Carissa straight into it. All that power, all that flow, connects 2 turns together. And looking really dynamic.
So solid surfing there. It's an interesting look. Watching that wave and seeing her having to cut that first turn short just to push that second turn in there. She comes up here, but then she kind of cuts it short so she can get the board back around to hit that last section to have, 2 maneuvers squeezed in there. And it's really tough out there because is one bigger, better, more committed maneuver going to be better than 2 that are kind of pushed in together like you just saw?
But then the conditions here in Portugal on the European coastline just change so often and so quickly that they have to be ready to adjust for whatever comes up, half hour by half hour, as those massive tide changes come into conversation as well. And during that break, we saw a split peak action between Carissa and Bronte. Carissa on her forehand, opting for the right, goes for that big first turn. And then this is what we saw from Bronte on the left.
Coming off the bottom, lip line snap, throws some water, and keeps some speed trying to finish on the inside. But you can see how quickly it shuts down and pushes across the water like this, and it has a more open face. Ooh, that was brutal. Trying to identify that is hard out here.
Bronte now up and riding, chasing a 6.07, just drives that rail in on the first turn, goes up into the pocket on the second. And she's looking to break out of that 4-point range.
We saw her hit the lip and come down into that section, was just troughing out. This is the replay of the way we just saw Bronte. A couple of lip line snaps, but a smaller way.
With a lot of our newer faces to the championship tour, that consistency that she has had throughout her career, holding strong in 2022, as we see Bronte flying into that first turn, up into the lip, times the second one, and just misses the finish. And you can see that that activity coming out of Bronte, staying hungry, searching for a lot of waves. After being out of competition for over 6 months and returning to the jersey at sunset.
I love it. I feel like you could almost like the video was on fast forward a bit. She was really moving quickly and ready for that lip, and unfortunate to not make that second turn, because it would have been a pretty solid score, possibly close to what she was looking for. Definitely would have made the requirement less. Gets it up into the lip line there. Conditions changing quickly. We got rain coming in, we got wind coming in, we got tide going out.
And now you can see that pressure starting to mount, coming down to 3 minutes, 15 seconds. Surfer in red with priority. Carissa Moore with a strong paddle, angling straight down the line. Drives off the bottom. Nice and 12 o'clock into that first pocket and up into the second. 2 powerful turns connected together. Has that glance, that serious look that Carissa gets on her face when she finishes off a good wave.
I feel like that was the best wave of the heat by far. Really beautiful surfing right up into the lip line. All that wave spitting off in the background. Look at this. She really attacks the lip line here. And that's something that's really hard to do in these conditions. Throws it up there again. And the thing that I'm noticing from Carissa is that she's worried about the maneuver first. Then she's worrying about coming out and riding out of it, which is you can't get too far ahead of yourself. And that's why she's finishing off those maneuvers and then looking over her shoulder, which is something you have to do in conditions like this. Really stay present, really stay quick, really stay in the moment. And then Bells, she's solid on the backhand. She's got a great big arc and can go vertical even on the backhand, which is favorable, I feel like, for Bells.
And if we could see her somehow get above that mid-season cut, we could be seeing her surf somewhere like Chopu later this year, which would be an exciting thing for a surfer like Bronte Macaulay. But Carissa Moore, the 5-time world champion, the Olympic gold medalist, holding it down in rainy, low tide conditions here at Super Tubos.